What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Our first question this week comes from Jake Keckler, who asks if we might see Force ghosts in The Last Jedi. I think that's a very real possibility, and we could see between 1 and up to 4 Force ghosts. I mean, Rey's Force-back vision in The Force Awakens featured the voices of Yoda and Obi-Wan. Hayden Christensen was at Star Wars Celebration this past year, and Liam Neeson sent in a video message. Now, all of that could mean nothing, but I tend to think that the appearance of Force ghosts has just been a very well-kept secret. So, yeah, I would love to know that Luke has been hanging out with Anakin and Obi-Wan and Yoda and even Qui-Gon. And the book, from a certain point of view, had a story from Qui-Gon's point of view, and it made the point that he can now visibly manifest, which is something he couldn't do during the Clone Wars. So it's interesting that they went ahead and said that in this anthology book that, oh, by the way, Qui-Gon can be seen now, and it kind of sets us up for a possible appearance by Liam Neeson or Qui-Gon as a ghost. And again, all of this could mean absolutely nothing. I might be reading way into it, but it's just something I think would be awesome to see. Ryan O'Rourke wants to know if I'd rather see completely new planets in The Last Jedi and beyond, or if I would want to see some old familiar planets make a return. First, I'll say that I hope we don't see Tatooine or Jakku or just desert planets in general, because we've had a lot of them. I want a break from desert planets. Otherwise, I'm cool with whatever fits the story. Like, if the story needs a jungle environment, yeah, maybe consider putting it on Kashyyyk or Yavin 4. But if the story doesn't need anything specific, then make something new. But really, it's just whatever fits. I don't really mind. Although I will say, I'd love to see Mustafar again, just because now that we know that Darth Vader has a fortress there, wouldn't it be cool for Kylo Ren to visit it? That just makes sense to me, and it seems like something that Rogue One could have set up and have this like cool connectivity with the sequel trilogy, but like I said, I'm pretty much cool with whatever as long as the story is good. Raymond Lee asks what the difference between the two modes of an X-Wing are. Right now, the biggest one is that the S-foils have to be closed in order for the starfighters to enter hyperspace. It used to be that if the S-foils were closed, they could move faster, but they couldn't attack, and if they were locked in attack position, they could attack, but they were less maneuverable. Now we've seen in Star Wars Rebels and the Poe Dameron comic that X-Wings can fire their blasters even with the S-foils closed, so some of those rules are obviously out the window now, but I guess in my head, I still like to think that they are moving faster when the S-foils are closed, even though I don't think that really makes much sense in space, but I don't know. Adam Thomas wants to know if there's an in-universe explanation for the reasoning behind when someone shoots a door panel, the door will either open or close depending on what the story needs or what the situation is. No, there's no reasoning behind that, at least as far as I can tell. I just thought this was a hilarious question and I had to include it. It's just one of those movie things. It's like the Star Wars version of shooting a padlock to open it, even though I'm pretty sure Mythbusters proved that that was just straight up impossible. It's just a movie logic thing. But now that you pointed it out, I think it is hilarious that a door will just do the opposite of whatever it's currently doing if you shoot the panel. Shane Robertson asks if I think the new Star Wars Episode 9 logo will be a different color from yellow or red now that we've seen The Last Jedi with its red logo. I'm kind of right on the fence there. I could see them just going back to yellow, but now that The Last Jedi is doing this red thing, maybe they will mix up the colors for every new film. I guess that's kind of the logic that I'm leaning towards, is that they are going to have the logo be blue or green or something. But honestly, I have no solid argument for that. It's just kind of what I think will happen. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where I left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained goodies like audio commentaries for the films or roles on my Discord server, and the combined donations really go a long way in supporting the channel. On to YouTube questions. Luke Skywalker II asks if The Last Jedi will rewrite everything we think we know about the Jedi and the Force. I think that's a little extreme. I don't think it's going to rewrite everything we know, but I do think we're going to touch on the history of the Jedi and maybe the first Jedi. And whenever the new canon really dives into that, I think it's going to be significantly different from what we saw in Legends with the Jedi Order and Tython and the Thoyor and all of that. Gerardo Reyes wants to know if Stormtroopers could be Imperial Royal Guards. Yes, as far as we know right now, Stormtroopers that performed well were just promoted through the ranks, and Royal Guard was one of the most prestigious jobs they could get. We also saw clone troopers discussing their desire for wanting to be Royal Guards in the newest Darth Vader comic right after Revenge of the Sith. Beyond that, we don't know much. The new canon hasn't gone into their training like Star Wars Legends did in the Crimson Empire comic. Spyros Gakanis asks if Thrawn is going to learn Darth Vader's true identity as Anakin Skywalker in the book Thrawn Alliances, and if he does, will Vader kill him like he killed Inspector Thanoth in the Darth Vader comic? I do think that if Thrawn doesn't already know who Vader is, he's definitely going to find out in the book. But no, I don't think Vader's going to kill him for that. I think whatever mission they team up for, Thrawn will earn his respect, and he's just going to leave him alone. But also, you mentioned Thanoth. Vader didn't kill him because he knew that he was Anakin. That was like kind of a last-minute revelation just to show how smart Thanoth was. Vader killed Thanoth because he knew that Vader wanted to overthrow the Emperor. That's why he killed him. I don't know that Vader really cares who knows about his past as Anakin Skywalker. The Burger Hut 7 wants to know if there have ever been any smaller conflicts in the galaxy, like just between two conflicting planets. Yeah, in Star Wars Legends, there was a definite war between the Kaleesh and the Yamri species of the planet Huk. In canon, I don't know that we've had like a straight-up war, but Trandosha and Kashyyyk, they're very close to each other, and the Wookiees and the Trandoshans just do not get along, and they never have, because the Trandoshans like to enslave and kill Wookiees. So again, I don't know if I would call that a war, but it is just two planets in conflict. I Love Griffin asks if I think the Star Wars fanbase is becoming increasingly negative and nitpicky. I know where you're coming from because I am bombarded by mean and negative and downright crappy comments every single day. But no, I still think Star Wars has some of the best fans in the world. I think the internet can make us think otherwise because the internet gives everyone an anonymous voice. And when people can hide behind that screen, they can be downright nasty to each other. But I just have to believe that that's a vocal minority, because it's a well-known fact that humans in general are more likely to talk about the negative than the positive. They're much more likely to voice their criticisms than their praise. So absolutely, it can feel that way, but if I ever start to have that thought creeping in, I just think back to Star Wars Celebration, because that's the fan base. That's the real thing. Being in front of real people and just being surrounded by thousands that are just so excited to be there and celebrate their fandom together and see the trailers and meet the filmmakers and the cast and big and small actors. Like, everything about Star Wars Celebration was wonderful. I'm so bummed there's not going to be one next year. Like, this year was my first time going and it blew me away. Like, I was depressed on the drive home. It was upsetting and I wish it were longer. So yeah, that's what I think. I think that the true fan base are the real people that you meet, and those guys were just full of energy and excitement. I didn't experience an ounce of negativity at Star Wars Celebration. So that's what I think. I think that the Star Wars fan base is stronger than ever. That's all the time for questions I have today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.